Okay, we're back for part two. Let's hope that part two goes more smoothly than part one. In part two, we're going to talk about your Goodreads project. And really, everything that we're going to be doing from now on is getting you ready for that. Because this is, and it's not just ready for the project, it's setting you up, hopefully, with just a stocked fridge, to use an overused metaphor right now, for when you get into the classroom. And that day will come, I promise. So, Goodreads Project. Why are we doing this? Sometimes we can get so focused on the typical way to teach English that we lose sight of the big picture. And in the process, we miss opportunities to help students make connections between themselves and the content, to make connections within the content itself, and then even to make connections between reading and writing. And we miss the chance to do that as well. So, what is involved with the Goodreads Project? Okay, so I've trimmed this down some. You're going to create 5 to 6 bookshelves. Children's literature is optional, so you only have to do 5. Usually there's 7 or 8. And then you only have to have 3 examples of each on those bookshelves. So you're going to need to have 3 examples of informational text, 3 short stories, 3 novels, 3 poems, if you want to, 3 children's books, but you don't have to. Normally in class, I share like 2 children's books a class period. And I can't do that. So I'm just, it's kind of like whether you have them around or not. And if you don't have them around, it's hard to do. So I'm just leaving that go. And then the last one is 3 examples of media, songs, movies, if you can find like YouTube clips, charts or graphs, even song lyrics. A lot of you referred to those. You can even go back to your life soundtrack if you want to. But you're going to have examples of those. Short stories you'll be able to find on Goodreads itself. Novels you'll be able to find on Goodreads itself. Poems, sometimes you'll find them on Goodreads. Sometimes you'll have to go to commonlit.org. Children's lit, you'll find those on Goodreads. Informational text, you're probably going to need to go to commonlit.org, but you could employ a biography or two and that of nonfiction, and you might find that in Goodreads. And then media, you'll definitely have to go to the, what am I trying to say? Commonlit.org. So once you've found those, you're going to put them on your shelves. We're going to look at the site itself in a minute. The site should provide you the basics, the title, the author, the publication date, as well as a brief description. You are going to be responsible for explaining how each text relates to your chosen concept, why it would be relevant for middle school students, and how it could be used, for instance, with a strategy from the Write Like This book, or as a way to model voice or word choice or ideas, or as a mentor text to teach figurative language, to model figurative language, etc., and infuse that into writing for a school. So your resources, use what you find online, commonlit.org. There's a Facebook group that I linked on Canvas that's they're classroom teachers right now saying, hey, what do you read with such and such? Where have you found, blah, blah, blah. Like they're trying to find books right now to use, like to find from the library and to download and stuff. So man, what a great time to be able to jump in on that and hear what they're talking about. We're going to do some book talks via Flipgrid, so you can borrow ideas from your colleagues. We're not going to do all this at once. We're going to start slowly but surely, and I'm going to show you the website in a minute. So I'm going to show you the website now, and then we'll come back to that. So if you are on Goodreads, and look at that, there you are. Some of you, not all of you, but some of you, you'll notice here that Corinne you're like, who is this Corinne? She is not in our class. She's from last year, and I've asked her to share so that we can see what hers looks like. Okay, so she set up her shelves. She's got novels. If we go to that, there, I don't know why this is making that weird red thing. We've got examples here of novels, and that these all go around her concept. So if we look at her review of this one, This was already provided for her, so she doesn't have to summarize it for us because we can see that. But she has reviewed it here, and she does give a basic description, but she's showing here, you can see that her concept is identity. So she's talking about how the book is a good one that's to center around her concept of identity. And then she also talks about um, middle school students relating here. All of these are scenarios that we experience, especially in middle school, so there won't be much problems getting students to relate to the text in some way. I would have liked to have that one to have been a little bit more middle schooly centered, but you get the general idea. And then down here, she starts talking about it, using it with writing. I'm asking you to focus on only these first two parts for each of your sources first. And so if we go back to her site, we'll see that maybe you guys are familiar with Stargirl. Tells us what it's about here. She reviewed it again. And now she's talking about middle school really well here. Eighth grade classroom. She talked about it, the identity piece of this, and then down here she talks about writing. So she has done this for every source on her bookshelf, and you'll see that she has more and more categories. Like, we're not doing drama this time. We're not doing art or visual. Those were hard for folks to find, so I took out the ones that were the hardest. And again, I made the children's books. I made those optional. So now you can include art if you would like to with media. So I'm going to go back to this. I'll show you next time how to, but the way you set up a shelf is if I go back to, I'm going to go back to our community here. And you see that I've set up our bookshelves. I try to set up some examples for you. Let's say that I wanted to add a book. I would go here and I would say, this is, you can see what I've looked up. I'm going to say I would like to add the book. Let's see here, because this mine was on perspective. I'm adding, what am I going to add? Oh, Life as We Knew It. I'm going to search for that. Oh, there it is. So this is a very good book. It's a little scary right now. Okay, it tells me about it. I've already read it and I've already rated it. If I want to, let's see here, what does it say? I want to add it. And this is, this is our group shelves, but I just did this as a model for you. You're going to make your own shelf. I'm going to put it at, it says, what shelf do I want to add it to? It's already on red. Shoot. Okay, let's go back again. This site is not as intuitive as I had thought. I'm going to add it to my, let's say novels is where I would put it. But let's say I wanted to add a new shelf because you guys don't have shelf. Oh, new shelf. Sci-fi dystopia. Already clicked as red. Boom. And now there's a new shelf that's right there. So that's how you do it. You click on the book, choose shelves, you add a shelf, save, and then you save it to the book group. So back to my bookshelves. There should be sci-fi dystopia. And look at, so what do you know? It didn't save. Going back to it because I'm patient. And I'm going to go back to it again. I'm going to add it to the group. Red, choose shelves, sci-fi, save. And then I also have to do save here. That's what I forgot to do. Save group book. Boom. Now if I go to my bookshelf, I see that indeed it is there. Only one. Does that make sense? You just have to play around with it a little. It'll make sense eventually. Okay. Whoa. Where are we? I'm in the wrong. Okay. So the way this is going to work is your criteria for success. This part right here that you've got text or discussed about how they're appropriate for middle school and explained how they're connecting to your content. I want you to have all of your books chosen and discussed in terms of those two things by April 9th. And then we'll start turning our attention to how to do this. Every reading or every writing strategy we talk about from here on out, you can then go add and say how you would use it. And that's not due until the final. But you really do have to start now, and you'll be able to, we'll be able to talk about it when we do our chats and stuff to get you ready for that. So what's due in summary? To do on Thursday when you have work time, you can do your flip. You don't have to wait until then, but that's the time dedicated to it. Your Flipgrid response on your ratings of the Fox. You're also going to do a discussion post on a young adult novel. You're basically doing a trial run with a Goodreads review. You're going to pick a young adult novel. You're going to describe how it connects to your concept and how it would be relevant for middle schoolers' lives. So it's a practice run on a Goodreads review. That's what you need to spend your time doing on Thursday. And then to prep for our next class, read Gallagher chapters 1 and 2 and take notes in your INB pages 37 and 39. And then get started on picking books for your Goodreads site. A book a day keeps the panic away. How about this? A shelf a day keeps the panic away. But really, even if you just start right now and start adding a book a day or a Goodreads information article a day, and those are going to go on we'll talk about the discussion boards next time because there's no shelf for informational text. I'll tell you how to handle that next time. All right, so I have emailed you your invite for our Zoom meeting tomorrow, and I look forward to seeing your sweet little faces then. Have a good rest of your day.